What do we think? Do we like the new setup? I was so over the old setup. I'm over so many things. I'm over all of my titles being in caps lock. I am tired of how I title things period. So we're doing a whole makeover on this channel. We're gonna have a new setting, some new titles, new content probably. I don't know. I really don't know. I was just so bored. I was like, I need to revamp. I've been doing the same thing for too long. So here we are in the setting. I know it's not perfect. I'm still playing around with it. I don't love this angle because of the glare on the DVDs. That really bothers me. But this is a beautiful part of my living room. Why don't I film over here? Anyway, today's video is going to be all the horror movies that are still coming later this year. We are finally in the second half of the year, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I kind of am not a huge fan of all of the horror that's been coming out this year. I don't think this is a very strong year for horror. I have obviously liked some things, and you know, some movies were good. I liked some things, but just overall, I'm kind of disappointed. However, I do feel like a lot of the heavy hitters are coming in the second half of the year, so I feel like that's really where the genre is going to shine, at least for 2022. This is all the info as of today that I'm filming July 6th. By the time this video goes live, I'm sure there's already updates and movies been announced and like new things, new details, everything like that. So don't kill me if I forgot something. I also didn't include every single release on every single streaming platform. These are just like the bigger ones, but there's over 20. So this video is still very dense with information. So get ready to take some notes because there are some great movies coming out this year. So first, let's start with the month that we are currently in. In July, we do have a couple new horror releases. First up, we have American Carnage, which comes out on July 15th. Now this is described as a dark comedy. It has Jenna Ortega in it, so sign me up. I'm already excited. After a governor issues an executive order to arrest the children of undocumented immigrants, the newly detained youth are offered an opportunity to have their charges dropped by volunteering to provide care to the elderly. I think this premise is really interesting and there's a lot of potential here, and I'm not sure how dark it's going to go because it does lean more, at least based on what I've seen of the trailer, it leans more comedy. So I feel like there's going to be darker elements, but I think ultimately this will be classified more as a comedy. Next, we have Gone in the Night, which is one that I've seen some people excited for because it stars Winona Ryder in it. A lot of people really excited about her. But this is more of a thriller mystery, so I will be including movies that fall under the thriller category as well because sometimes those just count. Horror is like an umbrella term, and I feel like thrillers kind of fall into that depending on how much they lean into the horror, so it really does depend, but I did include thrillers in this video as well, and Gone in the Night is one of them. When Kath and her boyfriend arrive at a remote cabin in the Redwoods, they find a mysterious younger couple already there. Her boyfriend disappears with the young woman, and Kath becomes obsessed with finding an explanation. I have not seen the trailer for this one at all. I probably will put in little snippets here and there, but nothing showing too much, but it sounds interesting. It sounds like a really solid thriller. Absolutely love the Redwoods. I think they're stunning, so I feel like the setting is really going to sell this movie for me, so I'm excited. This next movie is a newer one that I haven't seen many people talk about yet, and I anticipate this to be a straight to streaming type movie, and this also comes out on July 15th, so that makes 3 movies coming out on the same day. And there isn't much information out on this. Maybe the cast is out and like the brief description, which is basically a pregnant woman who is assigned bed rest who experiences something supernatural and has to save her life and her baby. So we don't have a trailer yet or anything, which is interesting because it comes out in a couple weeks, if that, so I'm not sure. Nope, obviously, comes out on July 22nd. I will definitely be reviewing this one, don't worry. As far as the other ones coming out this month, I'm not sure. Maybe I'll review American Carnage, but I think it's gonna be a comedy, not really a horror, I don't know. Anyway, but Nope doesn't really need any explanation or information on this. You know what it's about. You've seen the trailer/trailers. So we already know this is Jordan Peele's next installment, and I am actually a little bit nervous because he is phenomenal. I absolutely love every single thing that he's ever done, and that's why I'm nervous, because he is bound to have a flop, in my opinion. Like eventually he's going to have something that isn't as solid as the others. And And I feel like some people already feel that way about Get Out and Us and don't see them as like perfect films, and they're not by any means, but I just love his voice in the genre. So I am naturally very curious about Nope, and I think it looks great. It's obviously about aliens, which maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe he'll surprise us and there's like a twist. That would be exciting too. But I love anything aliens. So if it is that, cool. If not, then it's a twist. Sounds good. Anyway, and then we have Pretty Little Liars. You heard me right. Pretty Little Liars, Original Sin, coming out July 28th to HBO Max. This is the horror slasher reboot of the infamous Pretty Little Liars show. So if you're a fan of the show, let me know if you're excited about this. I've never finished the show, but I do like the show. I like the first like 4 or 5 seasons, but never watched the rest of it. So not sure about this one. Let me know if you want a review. I don't really know if I'm going to be honest. It looks very cheesy. I just saw a little bit of the trailer on Twitter. So I think the trailer just released today too that I'm filming this, so that's interesting. Moving on to August. First up we have Bodies, 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 which comes out August 5th. This is of course A24's newest horror movie. I feel like A24 is really delving deep into the horror genre, which I am here for. This again is another black comedy. We are getting a lot of darker comedies this year, I'm noticing. That's kind of been a trend lately. And this is definitely a very self-aware satire of the current generation or the younger generation of Gen Z. So it is very interesting. They obviously have that humor going on in the trailer. I've seen the trailer many, many times. So yeah, it looks fun. It looks fun. I'm not that excited, I guess. It's just, it doesn't seem like my kind of thing, but it looks fun and I'll take it. It's funny that they just did another slasher of X the same year. So it's very interesting that they're doing 2 slashers in the same year. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies follows a group of rich friends who plan a hurricane party at a remote family mansion that leads to a murder. This is a classic whodunit with a lot of humor. So it's not really my thing. Slashers aren't super exciting to me as a subgenre of horror, but I'll definitely watch it. I think it'll be fun at the end of the day, and I am interested in the like commentary, social satire of Gen Z. I think that'll be really entertaining as a millennial. I am hoping it's kind of brutal. I'm really hoping they push it with the gore and make it really messed up. I think that could be the saving grace, because I think X was pretty brutal and I liked that. So I hope they go the same route. Next up, we have a movie that is causing a lot of commentary, I think. I've posted it on my TikTok in like movies coming out soon that I'm excited for, or just movies that are, you know, coming out soon. I made a TikTok about it. They slash them. I think it's the title that's kind of like throwing people off, because they assume it's going to be in a negative light, like portraying non-binary or the LGBTQ plus community in like a negative light. But to me, it sounds really, really fun. And I love the play on words of they slash them. Like they are slashing them. You know what I mean? Like they slash them. They're killing them. I love that. I think that's so genius. This follows a group of LGBTQ plus at a conversion camp while enduring psychological techniques while also being stalked by a masked killer. Now, this stars Kevin Bacon, which I think is really interesting. This is going to be streaming directly to Peacock, so you'll have to, you know, keep an eye out for that, which means it could be free, which would be cool. Make it more accessible. I don't know. I'm not sure about that though. Don't quote me. Anyway, but I like the setup. I like the setting. I'm worried it's gonna be like, you know, very emotional, because obviously conversion camp, that sounds traumatic. So I am nervous about what we're gonna actually see this community kind of be put through. That is, you know, worrisome, but I do like the overall idea of them being at this camp and then having like a masked killer running around and like a typical slasher kind of thing, which I know I just said I'm not super excited about slashers in general, but this idea is just so unique that I'm really curious to see where they go with it. Next up, we have Prey. This is also coming out on August 5th. Did I say they slash them is on August 5th? August 5th on Peacock for They Slash Them, and then Prey is coming out onto Hulu on August 5th, and this is of course the next movie in the Predator franchise. And I don't know if you consider Predator to be true horror movies, but to me they kind of fall into the into the umbrella because they are more like action horror. Sometimes they can be very brutal and gory. So I feel like they're action movies with like horror elements. It is described on IMDb as action sci-fi horror. So anyway, but Prey is said to be a prequel film for them all, which I think is going to be really interesting. So I'm excited to see it. And I like, again, that it's coming out to Hulu directly, just so it's more accessible. I am surprised it doesn't have a theater release though. I don't know. I just feel like the other Predator movies typically had theater releases, so that surprises me a little bit. Next up, we have one of my most anticipated movies coming out in the rest of the year, and that is Resurrection. This comes out again on August 5th. That makes number 4 coming out on the same day. I'll have to pick and choose which ones I review because I'm not going to review all of them, so make sure to vote in the comments which ones you want individual reviews for. So Resurrection is going to come out directly to Shudder, and this stars Rebecca Hall. Now, Rebecca Hall is one of those instant watch actors for me. I will watch every single thing that she's in. She is just becoming one of my favorite actors because she's always in movies that I typically love. So Resurrection follows a woman whose carefully constructed life gets upended when an unwelcome shadow from her past returns, forcing her to confront the monster she's evaded for 2 decades. This sounds more like a thriller to me, so I think it's going to be similar to The Night House. I don't want to compare her works because obviously she's in a lot of different genres, but I feel like it's going to be similar to that. That's what I got from the teaser trailer that I saw. Everything else is pretty vague and really doesn't tell us anything, which I like. I like that there is not a lot of information going on about this movie. Next up, we have one that I think a lot of people are anticipating because of the cast specifically, and that is Barbarian, which comes out on August 12th. In town for a job interview, a young woman arrives at her Airbnb late at night only to find that her rental has been mistakenly double booked and a strange man is already staying there. Against her better judgment, she decides to stay the night anyway, but soon discovers that there is much more to be afraid of in the house than the other house guest. I hate the name of this movie. I don't know why. It doesn't paint the picture for me of what this movie is truly about, and it doesn't fit that description to me, or like the little trailer that I saw. The title just doesn't fit with the content of the movie, I think, but I'm not sure because I don't really know what the content of the movie is going to entail. I know nothing. I saw like the very beginning of the trailer itself and turned it off, so I don't know. This stars Georgina Campbell, Justin Long, and Bill Skarsgård, so I think that's why people are excited to see Justin Long and Bill Skarsgård come back. They've obviously been in the genre before. I'm not sure about Georgina Campbell, if she's been in the genre before, but overall it looks pretty good. I think this is going to be one that is, a lot of people are going to be watching. So next up is one that I don't think is going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I think it's going to be mine if I had to guess. I'm really excited for it for some reason. I think well, I'll get into that. Anyway, it's called Fall, also comes out on August 12th. It is from Lionsgate, so I think it will get a theater release, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Anyway, but it is a PG-13 thriller, which is why it's not going to be for everyone, but the content itself looks so up my alley and just kind of reminds me of the vibe of Escape Room, which is not for everyone. Not everyone loves that movie, but I'm obsessed with that movie, so this gives me the similar essence of Escape Room. So for best friends Becky and Hunter, life is all about conquering fears and pushing limits. However, after they climb 2,000 feet to the top of a remote abandoned radio tower, they find themselves stranded with no way down. I saw this trailer in theaters and it was so effective for me at causing tension and like dread just from the trailer. So I think this movie is going to be so effective with the thriller vibes. Like, I think it's really going to push the suspense and it's going to be really good in that sense. It just screams tension throughout the entire movie, kind of like an Escape Room where it's like the stakes are so high. That's what it reminds me of, because they're stuck 2,000 feet above the ground and things are going to happen. Something's going to go wrong, which it just sounds so exciting to me. So sign me up. I'm really excited for Fall. I feel like this is going to be one of those hit or misses though, because it is like a PG-13 thriller. We're still going with August. This is just next month alone. We have so many in August. I'm not even done. We still have 2 more movies in August coming. Like, August is dense with the horror thrillers. So next up we have Beast. This one comes out August 19th, and this one I have not seen anyone really talk about. It is described as an adventure survival thriller. A recently widowed husband returns to South Africa, where he first met his wife, on a long-planned trip with his 2 teenage daughters to a game reserve managed by an old family friend and fellow wildlife biologist. Soon, however, a ferocious man-hunting lion begins attacking them and devouring anyone in its path. Their journey of healing turns into a fight where their resilience will be tested. This one looks pretty good, and I really like the cast. I think the cast is fantastic. It has Idris Elba, Charlton Copley, sorry, I can't pronounce his name, and Riley, I can never pronounce her name either. Riley, I'm not even gonna try. Anyway, you know who I'm talking about. She's from oh my god. The Lodge, thank you. I just had to look up what the name of that movie is. Oh my god. Anyway, great cast. I really like all of them, so I think it'll be good. It is, you know, just more like a thriller, creature feature, survival movie, but that doesn't mean we're not gonna get intense horror elements, and I think this sounds like it could get pretty gory, so I'm excited. Okay, so the last one coming out in August is really gonna get people excited. Like, everyone's gonna be talking about this movie, I think. Like, this is gonna be one of the ones of the year. It's called The Invitation. I've also seen it called The Bride, and this comes out August 22nd. Now, this, with the right marketing, I think this is really going to be the standout of the year for just like general fans of the genre. I just have 3 words to describe this movie. Vampire horror movie. Now, we have those. We've had those. How long has it been since we've had like a true horror with vampires, you know what I mean? It's nothing new in the genre by any means, but I think this one looks so unique that I think it's gonna get people excited. So a young woman learns the shocking and bloody truth about her family history while staying at a lavish estate. There's more to it. I'm gonna put some of the trailer in this so you can kind of see what's going on. But it looks like she marries into this family, and then she finds out that they are a clan of vampires, and she, you know, might be a sacrifice. I don't know. I think the premise is really cool. This looks like something like Ready or Not, like very much like a vampire movie meets Ready or Not. So instead of the family from Ready or Not being just like into a game and they kill you, they're actually vampires, which I think just sounds really, really fun. Now, I don't think this is going to be particularly scary or really effective horror-wise for me. I don't think this is going to be one that like pushes the gore too much or like the scares. I think there'll be tension, but like Ready or Not isn't scary. You know, it's just like a fun, gory movie. I think that's exactly what this one's going to be. Okay, let's move on to September. We have a couple in September. We have 4. First up, we have one that I think is going to be instantly a Halloween kind of go-to movie for a lot of people, and that is Dark Harvest. That comes out September 9th. Now, this is a horror fantasy movie, so that's a little bit different to the other typical Halloween horror movies that we have. A legendary monster called October Boy terrorizes residents in a small Midwestern town when he rises from the cornfields every Halloween with his butcher knife and makes his way towards those who are brave enough to confront him. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I was confused if this was animated or not, because based on the poster, it looked animated, but this movie is based on a book, so I feel like this poster could also be just the cover of the novel. I'm not really sure, but I don't think it is actually going to be animated. I think it'd be really cute if it was animated, but I think it might be a little bit more cutesy anyway. I don't know why I have that vibe. Maybe it is the poster and it's giving me like Over the Garden Wall vibes or something. I don't know. But it could also be something completely different. Watch it be really messed up and there's like gore in it and stuff. Or it's like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, where it's kind of disturbing with some of the images. I don't really know, but I think it's exciting to expect some Halloween movies. We got some solid Halloween movies coming out this year. Okay, next up we have one I could not care less about, but I know if I didn't put it in here, everyone's gonna comment, what about this one? Salem's Lot also comes out September 9th. I'm just a little bit over Stephen King adaptations personally, especially if they're remakes of pre-existing adaptations that we already have. I'm just over it. I'm over people taking Stephen King's work and just making it into content. It feels like cash grabs to me. So nothing about the new Salem's Lot is exciting at all. Like, I don't really care about the first one. I don't care about this one. Okay, the next one is definitely going to be another one that is highly talked about, definitely one of the top contenders for movie of the year. I think it's going to lean a little bit more thriller than horror, but that is Don't Worry Darling, which comes out September 23rd. It kind of looks like Stepford Wives with a mix of psychological horror elements, which that sounds amazing. I absolutely love Stepford Wives, and I know the original is more psychological thriller. A 1950s housewife living with her husband in a utopian experimental community begins to worry that his glamorous company may be hiding disturbing secrets. Now, I don't know why, but I anticipate like a really huge twist with this movie, like The Village. If you've seen The Village, I think it's gonna be like that kind of twist, you know what I mean? And I don't know why. I'm not sure. It's nothing in the trailer really gives that away or like makes me think that that's what it would be, but the fact that they live in an experimental community is just a hint to me that it could be something completely unexpected and different than what it actually is, which I hope it is. That's the point of movies, you know, we want to be surprised. But I think why people are going to be so excited about this is the cast, obviously. It has Harry Styles and Florence Pugh in it. I think those two people alone are enough to build a lot of hype around this movie. It is also directed and starring Olivia Wilde as well. All right, last up for September, we have the movie Smile, which comes out on September 30th. And I think this is going to be one of those movies, people are already excited about it, already talking about it, but I think it's actually going to be one of those movies that are like Lights Out or Don't Breathe, that people will eventually just kind of forget about. And I think the plot and the movie itself will be kind of predictable and just kind of be like an average movie, but it suits like a specific mood, you know what I mean? After witnessing a bizarre traumatic incident involving a patient, Dr. Rose Cotter starts experiencing frightening occurrences that she can't explain. As an overwhelming terror begins taking over her life, Rose must confront her troubling past in order to survive and escape her horrifying new reality. I feel like this is one that's going to be pushed everywhere. I've seen the trailer a lot. If you go to the movies and theaters, you're going to see this trailer. So I feel like the marketing is very strong for this, but I think it will end up being kind of like Lights Out, kind of forgettable and a decent with some like good scares, and just kind of end up being a little bit average, which is fine. There are time and a place for those kind of horror movies. That's just my thoughts though. That's my predictions. Personally, this could be the best movie of the year. Who knows? Okay, let's get into October. Now, the only one that we really have a solid date for so far for this season is Halloween Ends, which of course comes out on October 14th. This is one of my most anticipated movies. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people are not excited about another Halloween movie, but get ready to cringe. I love them. I love the new Halloween movies. I love Halloween Kills. I don't care. So I'm excited for Halloween Ends. I think after this, Jamie Lee Curtis will be done with the franchise. So I think it's actually going to focus a little bit more on the story and like finalizing the story. I think Halloween Kills was the middle filler where it's lots and lots of gore. It has the most amount of kills or the highest body count of any Halloween movie. So I don't think they're going to repeat that with Halloween Ends. I think they're going to do more of just like story based and like finalizing Jamie Lee Curtis's character. So the other two movies that have been announced thus far for the Halloween season, we don't actually have dates for. But first up, we have Terrifier 2. We finally have the sequel for the famous Terrifier, which I'm very excited about. Now, the movie itself isn't fantastic, but I really love Art the Clown as a modern villain. I think he's one of the best modern villains that we've gotten recently, so I'm excited to see him again. Obviously, these movies are very messed up, very gory. I'm not sure where it's going to be streaming. I don't think it's going to get a theater release, but that's just my prediction. And then the other one that's been announced thus far for this season, I'm sure there's going to be more horror movies announced for the rest of the year, but because these are kind of far out, this is all we know for sure. Spirit Halloween, not the store. The movie. I know. I think this one's going to be a goofy one. I'm not really sure what to expect from this one. I think it's going to be more for the younger audience because it's described as a family adventure survival movie. Horror is not listed at all, so I'm not sure. When a Halloween store opens in a deserted strip mall, three friends thinking they've outgrown trick-or-treating decide to spend the night locked inside. That sounds like such a good time. I want to do that. But their night of spook-filled fun soon turns to outlandish survival. So I guess they it might be like Five Nights at Freddy's where they like get locked in there and all the animatronics start coming to life. That could honestly be terrifying, even if they're not trying to be like that scary. If it's for kids or even a younger audience, that could honestly be pretty scary because some of the animatronics at Spirit genuinely are terrifying. Also, is this licensed? Is this like a licensed movie from Spirit? Is it like marketing for their store? I'm very confused by this movie. You probably won't see me reviewing this one. I'll probably just throw it in a monthly recap. But I will go see it or watch it on streaming or wherever because I love Spirit Halloween as a store. November. We only have one announced for November as of right now, unless I'm missing some. I'm sure I'm missing some. You guys will let me know which ones I'm missing. But The Menu comes out November 18th. Now, this is another dark comedy. This is why I'm thinking that we're getting a lot of dark comedies this year. So this follows a young couple that travels to a remote island to eat at an exclusive restaurant where the chef has prepared a lavish menu with some shocking surprises. Now, this kind of reminds me a little bit of the movie Cadaver, which is a foreign film, and that takes place during the apocalypse. It's a little bit different. They go and are invited to this hotel with, you know, food and things like that, thinking it's gonna have the same twist. I'm hoping it doesn't go that route because that would make it too predictable, but we'll see. It does star Anya Taylor-Joy and Ralph Fiennes, both actors that I absolutely love. And again, this looks like a fun one. I think it's more of like a serious dark comedy, if that makes sense. Like, I think it's gonna get pretty brutal and possibly psychologically disturbing. Not sure. Okay, so the last couple movies I want to talk about don't actually have release dates at all, so they may be put in other months. We have no idea when these are supposed to come out other than like late 2022. So that's why they're at the end of this video. So the first one we have is Evil Dead Rise. This is the next movie in the Evil Dead franchise. Now Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell are executive producers on this, so it's a little bit more promising. However, it does indeed take place in a high rise. And I'm not sure logistically how that works for the franchise. We've never really seen that before take place in a city. Very curious. Now, it is directed by Lee Cronin, I've never seen any of his movies except for The Hole in the Ground, which was just a very average movie to me. So filming ended in October of 2021, so it should come out any day now. It could be later this year. I don't know. This could just surprise us randomly. It is going to be posted on HBO Max, so it will be available for streaming. Probably won't have a theater release. Next up is another one that will be streaming later this year, and that is Cabinet of Curiosities. This is going to be my Joker of the year. This is my Joker. Now, this, of course, is Guillermo del Toro as kind of the person who picked the directors and the content for these shorts that are going to be put on Netflix. So it's just like a bunch of short films, I guess you would say short horror films with different directors, and a lot of the directors are actually really established already. The most exciting one that I'm excited for is Jennifer Kent, who of course made The Babadook and The Nightingale. I think she's the most exciting director for me out of the ones that he's selected, but you should go take a look at the list of all the directors that he's selected and see what they've done, because it's a pretty solid crew here. Also, Rupert Grint is starring in this in some capacity. No one else cares about Rupert except me probably, but I'm a little bit biased because I love Harry Potter. But I love to see Harry Potter actors still doing their thing. Ralph Fiennes in The Menu. Okay, so the last one we're gonna talk about is not a horror movie, but it's horror news, so I thought I would throw it in at the end of this video. The Munsters by Rob Zombie. I think this is such an interesting direction that he's going. Rob Zombie is of course doing his own version of the Munsters, and it will star his wife, Sherry Moon. So yeah, it's interesting. The reason why it's interesting is because you think Rob Zombie, you think like blood and guts and grit and dirt and just nasty. This is rated PG. So it's very family friendly, which is just going to be so interesting. Again, not sure on the release date, but we do finally have a poster for it. I really have enjoyed the little teasers. I think it's going to be in color as well, which is different for the Munsters. I'm really excited to see his take on it though, because I did watch the Munsters growing up. I'm very old. So anyway, that is all of the releases that I have on my personal list. Of course, there's going to be probably dozens that I didn't talk about, but I will try to like tweet out news as I discover it or retweet other things that I see regarding all of these. And yeah, let me know if I missed any like big ones that you're excited for. But also make sure to leave a comment. Which one of these are you most excited about? I know it's going to be Nope, but that's okay. You could be excited for Nope. I know that's going to be the movie that everyone is anticipating. But also besides Nope, what else are you excited about this year? Let me know what you think about my new setup, if you're a fan, or if I should just go back to the blank wall. I don't really know what's better. You tell me down below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.